Welcome to Suitcase and Chardonnay, the podcast where style meets storytelling and where we blissfully blend travel, fashion, food, wine, and intentional living. I'm Renate Engelbrecht, your host, and this is a space where you can find inspirational lifestyle tips, explore beautiful local and international destinations, and share slow, luxury moments and the little details that make life feel richer. In this second season, we are leaning even deeper into life's unique experiences. From boutique hotels and family weekend escapes, to thoughtful food and fashion, soulful conversations about wine, creativity and conservation, and the art of slowing down without losing your sense of adventure. Whether you're listening on a morning walk, planning your next getaway, or simply craving a moment of inspiration, you're in exactly the right place. If you love lifestyle podcasts that celebrate travel, fashion, food, and wine, go ahead and follow or subscribe so you'll never miss an episode. And if something resonates, save it, share it, and let it travel further than we ever could alone. Now, if you're ready, let's go. As we've been exploring the theme Sensitive Souls See More this month, I've found myself returning to the idea that the most meaningful experiences in life aren't always obvious. They're the subtle ones, the ones you feel before you fully understand them. And I think wine is such a beautiful reflection of that. Because yes, we can talk about tasting notes, structure, and terroir, but sometimes a glass of wine holds so much more than that. It holds memory, emotion, a sense of place, a moment in time. Today's episode is all of that and more. It's soft and reflective. We're stepping into the world of storytelling through wine and what it really means to create something that people don't just taste, but feel. On this episode, my guest is the lovely Mika Engelbrecht, head winemaker at Neethlingshof Wine Estate. She is a wine innovator who truly captures stories in bottles, and I was lucky enough to meet up with her at the beautiful Alpine Attitude Boutique Hotel and Conference Centre during her recent visit to Pretoria. Nestled in the heart of Menlo Park in Pretoria, Alpine Attitude Boutique Hotel and Conference Centre is where style and comfort go hand in hand with luxurious hotel rooms and self-catering units perfect for your accommodation needs. Boasting 3 modern venue areas, Alpine Attitude is the perfect option for your next corporate gathering, workshop, wedding, birthday, or baby shower. Take a look at their latest packages, which range from harvest-inspired high teas to generous buffets and formal culinary experiences. Visit alpineattitude.co.za for more information. 2 Engelbrechts on a couch today. Mika Engelbrecht from Neethlingshof on the episode. And I'm so excited to have you here today, Mika. And I had to chat to you while you were in Pretoria. It doesn't happen that often.
No.
But thank you so much for your time. And I'm very excited to hear more about what you do there on the farm, but specifically around storytelling through wine, because I think that was the main theme for my blog and the podcast this month, and specifically around the theme of Sensitive Souls See More. And I wanted to understand your way of thinking when it comes to storytelling through the wines that you make. But first of all, let's just introduce you to the listeners and explain to them exactly where you are based. We are not, well, I am not living in Stellenbosch, so maybe you can just explain to them exactly where the farm is located and your role at Neethlingshof.
Yeah, so I'm the winemaker at Neethlingshof, have been for the past 3 years. I actually studied viticulture and oenology at the University of Stellenbosch, and as part of your final year of your studies, you have to go into a commercial cellar and you have to do a practical for at least 3 months, and I did my internship at Neethlingshof.
Oh really? That's amazing.
Yeah, so it's a little bit of a full circle moment. I also got my first real job at Neethlingshof. So yeah, it's really special to be able to see how they also do the product development behind certain stories that we want to tell. But before we go into that, Neethlingshof is basically based just outside Stellenbosch on the Polgeddraai Road as you are heading to Kuils River. So it's literally a 5-minute drive out of central town.
Okay.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, I mean, we all know Stellenbosch wines. Any wine lover would know Stellenbosch wines. So maybe you can just tell us a little bit more about the wines that you focus on, the varieties that you enjoy working with most.
So with Neethlingshof also it's quite a full spread. So we work with 12 or 13 different cultivars, 6 white varieties, 7 red varieties. So you kind of get a exposure to quite a bit working there. White wines, we predominantly focus on a lot of Sauvignon Blanc and then also some Chenin and Chardonnay. And then some lesser known white varietals, which are more seen as niche varieties, like Riesling and Gewürztraminer. But on the red side, our big focus is Pinotage and then Bordeaux reds, Cab Sauv, Cab Franc. We have Merlot, Malbec, Petit Verdot across the bank, and then Shiraz as well. But predominantly, our soils and our climate tend to show very well on the Bordeaux cultivars.
Yes. Speaking about soils and climates, what would you say if you could identify or characterize the terroir of the farm, just for the listeners who are interested in a bit more of the technical side of things?
So typically we have a Mediterranean climate, so hot, warm summers and wet winters. Obviously having variation in the rainfall the past couple of years. But typically also we have quite fertile soils. Our predominant profiles for the soil nerds out there is Tikulu and Oakleaf. So quite rich, very good soils for planting vineyards and establishing vineyards. They also have quite good water retention, so it keeps the moisture in the soil. So we only do supplement irrigation. And overall we also recycle our effluent water from the cellar and we reuse that for irrigation of certain blocks on the farm.
Yeah. And for people visiting Neethlingshof, what are the activities and things that they can expect to experience there, aside from the wine?
So currently we are working on restoring our restaurant that will be opening hopefully in September later this year.
Exciting.
So it's quite exciting and a little bit daunting at the same time because the timeline, it's around the corner. But at the moment we cater for quite a few pairings that we can accommodate quite big groups of people with a salad tour, doing a tasting experience, but then we also try and accommodate the kiddies. So we have a full-on kiddies pairing that you can bring the little ones along if the parents want to spend a little time at the farm as well.
Oh, very cool. That sounds very cool. So what do they then do with the kids exactly?
So they basically, we have a flash food pairing where it's different bite-sized treats with 5 different wines, but then they have like a juice and a milkshake paired with 3 bite sizes as well. So they feel like they're part of the experience as well. But we also have a playground based just next to the tasting room. So you can keep them busy outside while you are in the wine garden as well.
Very cool. So, talking about stories, I wanted to touch a little bit on your specific range called short stories, or short story range. Is that correct? How did that come about?
So it was, I think, in the early 2000s to 2010, around there, where they wanted to create a separate allocation for the more premium wines we are producing, because within the estate range, most of our wines are line priced between the white and the red wines. But then also, you can't just produce a wine that's on the same quality all over. You have some special blocks that you want to elevate and showcase what you are specifically doing. And the short story collection came about because it's about a collection of stories either telling you about the history of the farm or one of our conservation practices, as we are a WWF conservation champion.
Okay.
And also playing back to the history of the farm, where we were recognized as one of the first 14 estate producers. So it actually reflects the terroir so good, because all your grapes need to be grown on the farm, it needs to be processed there, and it needs to be bottled on site.
Okay.
So something that can capture that specific. A lot of the wines in the range are single vineyard wines, and when it's blends, it's something to showcase what the true profile of the estate is.
Yeah. Oh, that's very interesting. I think, you know, for me personally, wines always come with a bit of a story, whether it is the terroir, which is often very interesting for me, but also, you know, if there's an individual who inspired the wine, or like you say, the history of the farm or something like that, it's always, you kind of want to buy that bottle for the story. And I always wonder if there is a way that these stories have an effect on your experience when you taste the wine. Do you think?
I definitely do, because sometimes also if you go to a specific festival and you have a wine there, you might have 3 different wines from your estate range, but then you have one from the short story collection, and then people will say, you know what, that one is my favorite. And even though it's slightly distinctive from a wine that was maybe from the same cultivar but in the estate range, you need to have that distinction, and you have a little bit of a more of a connection with somebody due to the story, whether it's because they like the history or they like the conservation practice. I think people tend to buy into the wine a little bit more.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, I think, I mean, it almost becomes a bit of a collectible item as well for some people, because they buy the wine for the story and not just for the wine itself. And then they struggle to drink it because they don't want to open the bottle.
Or they like the picture.
Yeah.
Somewhere, somehow, you have a lot more touch points for somebody to engage in, because sometimes it's that first point. Maybe you're at a wine festival like WineX and somebody passes your table and they see the picture and they want to know what is the story about and why is it different from the rest of the labels that you have on the table, for example.
Yeah. So in the short story range or collection, what would you say is your favorite story?
I tend to really love the story about the outpost. It links back to one of our conservation practices, where we physically put out different outposts in the vineyards to help with rodent control.
Okay.
It's a more natural way of going about it. And even though it focuses on the owls using the post, going through the vineyard, specifically in summertime, we have a lot of small falcon that actually also use it during the daytime, and the owls use it more at nighttime. So we have a little bit of a double up and a 24-hour watch with the outpost. But also we have quite a big population of the spotted eagle owls on the farm.
Oh, wow.
They actually tend to also use the acorn trees that sometimes they get these hollow areas in their trunks and they use it as a breeding site to nest, which is quite special, because if you get to see these beautiful owls close up, I mean, it's really special and it's really amazing to see.
Yeah, and I think it's incredible that they are also, you know, part of the whole system and the process of getting the wine into the bottle, which is quite special. Sure. And if you would have to recommend one of these wines to a listener who doesn't know Neethlingshof, what would you say, which would be the first wine you would recommend?
I think I would recommend the First Flower. It's a new wine that we actually added and released in the last 2 weeks, which is a wooded Chenin, because historically in our short story range we only used to have two different types of Sauvignon Blanc and then a white blend. And also being South Africa, being in Stellenbosch, Chenin is one of the cultivars that we work with quite a lot. So it's quite a nice new addition to the family of the short story collection, and it's also a new story to tell. Yeah. So it's linking to one of the previous owners, Maria Mare. They were one of the owners or the second owners in the early 1780s, and Maria had a husband. He was the main mare, if I can call it that way, farming the land. They did quite extensive investment and development of the property, planting some vineyards, also building the cellar. They planted some tobacco, which was quite weird when I read the story. But they had quite a big impact in terms of the establishment of the vineyards.
Okay.
They ended up having 5 children, and then unfortunately her husband passed away. So the feisty widow that she ended up building and finishing the manor house on the farm that was completed in I think the early 1800s. Which is quite something kind of unusual for that period in time for a woman running the farm alone with the 5 children. And then in the gable of this Cape Dutch building, she embedded 6 little flowers representing herself and the 6 children, but then also reflecting back to Chenin, which used to be the first cultivar that budded on the farm.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's very special.
Yeah.
So you'll have to go and have a look at the different wines in this collection, because they clearly all have different stories to tell, and very special stories.
Yeah.
And obviously it's even more special if you can listen to these stories on the farm, right?
Yeah. And I mean, we have a tasting experience where you can literally taste all of the short story collection wines in the same flight. So you can really grasp and capture the whole history in terms of what we were trying to do when we designed the wines and the stories behind them.
Yes, yeah. And the labels of these wines?
So they all have a different picture basically on them, representing something that connects to the story, whether it is the conservation practice or the reflection on the history. Okay. So they look a lot different than the normal estate range, which have our very historic Stone Pine Avenue that you drive through as you are heading to the farm.
Yeah. Mika, thank you so much. I am very intrigued with all these stories. I'm definitely going to come and visit.
Please do.
And taste all of these wines on the farm, because that's so much more special.
Thank you.
But yes, good luck with your visit here in Pretoria and in
Appreciate
Gauteng. And I'll see you on the farm.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
For me, there is something really beautiful about the idea that a bottle of wine can hold so much more than just what's inside. That it can carry moments, stories, even pieces of the people who created it. And maybe that's what this month has really been about. Noticing more, feeling more, allowing ourselves to slow down enough to experience things fully. Whether that is a place, a piece of clothing, a conversation, or even a glass of wine. Next time you pour a glass, be sure to pause, to notice, to reflect. Thank you so much for spending some time with me on Suitcase and Chardonnay. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd love for you to follow the podcast or subscribe on your favorite platform. It truly helps the show grow and helps others to discover it too. You can find more stories, travel tips and reviews, style inspiration and curated recommendations over on the blog at Suitcase and Chardonnay, where each episode often lives on in written form, with links, visuals and deeper details. For daily fashion inspo, behind-the-scenes moments and slow-living storytelling, come and say hi on Instagram, Facebook or Pinterest. Just search for Suitcase and Chardonnay. And if this episode sparked something for you, don't forget to save it or share it with someone who loves travel, fashion, food and wine as much as you do. Until next time, keep chasing beauty, spotting the little things, traveling with intention and finding joy in everyday things.